Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another chat with Castles, Capes, and Clones. This is where we talk about all things Disney. We could be talking about Disney, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, Star Wars, which is also Lucasfilm, the Muppets, 20th Century, Hulu, Disney Plus, ABC, and more. So if you like that kind of thing, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell for notifications, and do like this post as it really does help us out. I am Loren, and I'm here with my cousin and co-pilot, Cousin Rich.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. I just realized I forgot to play our intro. Oh well.
Oh, it's fine. I know I was waiting for it, and then I'm like, oh.
As soon as you
Or
started talking,
camera.
I was like, I forgot something.
Yeah, it's
That
okay.
isn't how it starts.
Yeah. So anyway, you were there at Disneyland for the opening of Season of the Force,
I
right?
I wasn't there for the first day. I was there on the Saturday.
Okay, so
Um,
like pretty much opening weekend.
yeah, like I got there because I was determined. So when news broke that Star
Hmm.
Tours was going to have 3 new additions or whatever,
Yeah.
I thought honestly that there was 3 new destinations. One for
Right.
Andor, one for Mandalorian, and one for Ahsoka.
Uh huh.
And so I'm like, I'm gonna ride that ride until I see them all. So I got there,
Yeah.
bro drop, got in line,
Uh huh.
uh, and I got. So what I noticed, if you've never been on it, or if you've been on it, they've added in. So in the beginning, when you're about to launch and you're in the hangar, right before either like a stormtrooper or Kylo Ren or Darth Vader shows up, you can see a
Yeah.
ship. Usually it's like the Falcon or something, but it's now one option is that they didn't really highlight is that it's a Ahsoka ship that's sitting there. So that's
Oh.
that's new.
Okay.
Um, and then I didn't see any new other in beginning, so it's still. I think I got Vader both all the times I went.
Uh huh.
Um, and then the first the first destination you go to is all the normal ones we've had,
Like
and then the
Hoth.
transmission, yeah. So they haven't added one to that, and then the mid ride transmission, that's where you'll see Andor or Mandalorian and Grogu or Ahsoka. And
Uh huh.
I didn't see Mandalorian or Grogu. I saw Andor a couple times and Ahsoka a couple times
Hmm.
or once. And then after that, you go to the new destination.
Which is a
And when I
space
first went
whale.
on it, it was yeah, the space whales basically,
Hmm.
which is cool. Um, you don't get to go into the mouth of a space whale. You almost do.
Mm. Yeah.
But Rosario Dawson reprises her role as Ahsoka. There's some cool like banter between her and R2. They acknowledge each
Yeah.
other because they know each other. So that's cool. And then I got off the ride, went right back in, and then I got Andor. The first time I went, it was Ahsoka as the transmission, and then Ahsoka,
Hmm.
the whales. Second time I
Right.
went, it was Andor, and then the whales. Right.
Hmm.
I went on it a third time, and it was Andor and the whales. I was like, man, I'm
Okay.
not going to see anything. It wasn't
Right.
until I got home that someone explained to me, it's like, oh, they just added one destination. So it's always going to
Yeah.
be the whales. They didn't
Oh.
add an actual like Andor scene or a Mandalorian scene.
I
They just
know they should
added
have.
the transmissions. I was like, what?
Yeah, they should have added an extra scenes. I think. I mean,
Yeah, the last time they did updates, they added more than just that. So, uh,
yeah.
I mean, for the sequels when they came out, we got like Crate, the end scene.
Hmm.
Um, what else? 2 ones. I feel like there's more. Oh, and then the when you go under the water when you find the Death Star remnants. That's not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they've added
Mm.
multiples before. So I thought, sure, why not add multiples now? Nope, it
Right.
wasn't. It's because I didn't read enough about it because I didn't want it to get spoiled. I'm like, I saw the news. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna look at anything because I want to see it firsthand, right?
Mm.
And not know anything going in.
Yeah.
Apparently, if I did do my research, I would have learned that there was only one destination. So I didn't technically really need to ride that thing 3 times in a row. But
Yeah.
here we are. I will say,
Well,
like Rope Drop, I went on. It was like really short, but by the time I rode it for the 3rd time, that park started to get really busy. So
did it? Did
I
you go
was
over to
like,
Galaxy's Edge?
yeah, I went to Galaxy's Edge.
Did you see the?
I didn't see anybody new.
You didn't see the
So
droids or
I didn't see the droids.
the
Apparently, I was there. If I was stuck around a lot longer, I maybe would have seen Josh tomorrow and Bob Iger because they were hanging around later.
really?
Yeah, but like I wasn't there the whole day because I was by myself. So
Hmm.
I'm just like, all right. I was there for a good chunk of time. Then I left because I'm like,
Yeah.
I hung out in Galaxy's Edge for like an hour. No
Oh,
one came out. It might be because I'm just there way too early before
yeah. What
characters were
time
coming
did
out.
you go?
I saw a rope drop. So like I rode the 3 Star Tours within an hour.
Oh, and then you went over
So I was
there.
still very early.
Yeah, because
Right?
they usually have the characters come out like at 2. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why don't
Yeah.
you have them roaming around all day? Even Avengers Campus at least has like Doctor Strange is usually out at opening, and
Right.
maybe even Spider Man.
Yeah.
But so at least have somebody wandering around.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway. So, well, that's cool that you got to experience it. I'm looking forward. I'm going at the beginning of May.
Nice.
I couldn't get in on May the 4th, and I'm like, why is May the 4th? The only date that doesn't have any reservation. And then I'm like, oh, I get it
It's
now.
May the
Yeah.
4th. Same thing with like
So
that weekend we'll be in Florida. So
yeah.
my sister and brother-in-law and my niece have season passes in Florida.
Oh, nice.
But luckily they had the foresight to make reservations for that
Right.
day before they
Right.
sold out. Like it's been because it's May the 4th, right? And we're going to Hollywood Studios that day. So we
Yeah.
purposely were going to be in Hollywood Studios on May the 4th.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Since my dad and I bought our tickets, we don't need reservations. And I specifically
Oh,
talked to someone from Disney. I'm like, I want to make sure that I don't need to. And they're like, yeah, you don't need. All right.
okay. Well,
Holding me
that's
to that.
good.
So
Yeah.
because I get it. I'm a paid ticket, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Where are you
good.
guys staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge?
No, where are we staying? Old Key West.
Old Key West. Where's that one?
It's by Disney Springs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too bad that you didn't stay at like the boardwalk or something because that's just right there.
And I don't remember where everything is.
Huh?
I don't remember where everything is, so I don't know the layout.
Yeah. Because they got the boardwalk, like, and like it's near the Swan and Dolphin. So,
Um,
and I think you can walk to Hollywood Studio. I know you can walk to Epcot from there, but I think if you can't, you can take a boat,
hmm.
like not a ferry like in the at Magic Kingdom, but like it's like a little boat. I
Yeah,
remember going around there.
I think it's because it was a very last minute decision to go,
Yeah,
so our options weren't That's why not one of that's why we're not Animal Kingdom, because our
Yeah.
options were very, very limited.
Does
So
Old Key West have DVC?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, that's good.
yeah, yeah. Plus, yeah, we want to switch it up, but
Okay.
I forget why it was. It was like something to do with my sister's points. I don't know,
Yeah.
but there we are.
Yeah.
We leave in 16
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm going to the second and third. Um, I want to
Okay.
experience Pixar Fest and I want to experience Season of the Force. So I'm hoping I can do it all within those 2 days
There is
because
all
I
like
want to at least see that parade twice, if not thrice. Because yeah, the Pixar one
oh yeah,
because it's got May as a red panda, so
hmm.
that's going to be a character, and then they're going to have Luca, Alberto, and Julia on one of the floats. So and then you can meet Ember and Wade, and I
Hmm.
love it. I love Wade. I'm in love with Wade.
That
I'm in
movie
love with the water elemental.
that movie was underrated.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was so funny because everybody was going to write that film off. They're like, it had the lowest opening in Pixar history, and everybody's like, oh yeah, it's another flop. And I felt bad for Pete Song, who was the
Yeah,
director, because the other big flop for Pixar was The Good Dinosaur, and now for Elemental to have gotten some legs, to actually be profitable. I'm just so happy for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool.
All right, let's move on. Let's start with the Disney news. So there is a change in DAS. I forget what it's called. Disability. Well, it's basically
Uh,
for
Disability Access Service.
access service. Okay, there are
Yeah,
going to be changes to that. Uh, a lot of times you get a card and it allows you to either get a return time or bypass certain things. And in effect on May 20th at Walt Disney World and June 18th at Disneyland, because there's a number of people utilizing the DAS. It's gone up sustainably, substantially, and a number of these are abusing the pass. I remember that there were some people who were actually selling them, to people to use,
hmm.
and they kind of banished that one. But Inspire Health Alliance is going to team with Disney. Party size is now 4, with exceptions for larger immediate family numbers. And enrollment from 60 to 120 days before you have to register again. Um, so I think that's right. As long as they're working with a health alliance, because there are people who genuinely need a DAS, you
Yeah,
know,
mhm.
and I think that that's important.
Yeah, and it's like it's tripled in the last 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of it is attributed to there's going to be, of course, influencers who abuse it. Um, and there's like it was easy to kind of bypass the checks and
Mm-hmm.
balances for it, but now you literally have to go like you have to have like a video interview with a health person to prove that you
Mm-hmm.
need this, right?
Yeah.
And then what I didn't add, I think what I read is that if you are caught lying about your disability,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
can be banned.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, good. If you are abusing the system and you don't need it and you're lying about it,
Yeah.
then yeah, sorry,
Yeah. I agree.
right? Because like a
All
lot of
right.
like
So,
complaints were that the lightning lane, the same lines that because they utilize the same lines for like lightning lanes or whatever. So if those lines
right.
started getting longer because of the people that are abusing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's too bad that people have abused the system because it is an important thing for people with disabilities.
yeah,
All right. Next, we are going to go over to France and talk
wee
about Walt
wee.
Disney Studios. It's going to be renamed Disney Adventure World, which it is, I think, going in line with some of the other parks like California Adventure, you know. So this is Adventure World. Uh, Walt Disney Studios is probably the equivalent to California Adventure, but it's got a lot less. Like it's interesting because the park, when I first went, and to the last time I went, was developing the Pixar section of the park. So you got like Ratatouille. You know, I saw it being built, and I actually got to ride it. And that section is really cute. And then the Toy Story Land is really cute. And then they've kind of been retheming this area that was kind of like a toon area, and that had like a spinner car thing themed to cars, and then the Crush coaster, which everybody loves. And yeah, so that part is nice, but the other side was really dire. And then they added Avengers Campus over there, so theirs looks a little bit different than ours because we only had a stretch of land, so ours is very narrow in design,
right.
you know. And I think theirs is more spread out, which I wish that we had had for Avengers Campus here, because it does get to bottleneck, especially around the uh, what is that called? Um, the web, where Spider-Man does his show.
Yeah. The web
Yeah,
slingers, right?
because people are standing there. People are standing there on the side, and then you got people kind of rubbernecking it and all that stuff. So it
Right.
slows down the process. I always end up going out the other way, because it's less crowded.
Right.
So anyway, there's that. They're going to be. It's going to coincide with the launch of the World of Frozen. We've seen it open in Hong Kong. Looks amazing. Just that whole area is just like so attention to detail.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that you want. So I'm assuming that they're going to use a lot of the same things over there, um, and so it'll be really cool. And then I know also in Tokyo, they're also bringing in a world of Frozen. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but it's part
Yeah.
of that whole like fantasy thing that they're putting in Tokyo Disney Sea. So,
Right. Yeah.
um,
It's
oh, go ahead.
honestly, it's from what I like looked at, it's a major overhaul of that studio. So there's going to be
Oh yeah,
4 worlds: World of Frozen, Pixar World, Avengers Campus, and then they haven't named what the new expanded world is. But it's literally what they said is going to double the size of the park.
Yeah.
All in all. So
Yeah.
having
Because
never been there, I don't know what that means.
well, I mean, I can imagine it because it's like there was just like this stretch of area that just didn't, like, and then they had a tram ride
Yeah.
with the Catastrophe Canyon kind of thing. And
Right.
it was just that tram ride was really dire. I went on it once and I'm like, oh, what are we doing here? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, you get to see props and things, kind of like how the old Hollywood studio was. But the
Right.
thing was that you also got to see like the Golden Girls house and like actual houses and stuff like that. So, and that was the fun part of it. So anyway, um, yeah, they're overhauling 90% of the park, and there's going to be a new entrance. Interesting. New rides and expansion with another world, as you mentioned.
I wonder if that
Uh,
spinning ride you're talking about is going to be the Tangled. Because this Tangled ride is supposed to be a spinning ride
in Tokyo or in
in studios or Adventure
or
World.
Adventure World? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that they were going to theme that too.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a ride that's Tangled, and it's a spinning ride. So I wonder if
Yeah,
they're rethemed because they said they're retheming almost 90% of that park. Um,
yeah,
so I wonder if it's that, but they're basically moving away from that whole studios part of it. So it's no
yeah,
longer going to be about the studio. It's going to be an actual just theme park, and not
yeah.
a try to be like a backstage Hollywood thing.
Right, exactly.
Man,
Um, yeah, so that's going to be really exciting.
like I said before this, I'm like I forget that this park exists. That's how
Yeah,
much it's on my mind.
yeah,
Until this happened, I'm like, first I thought they're renaming Paris Disneyland. I'm like, that's weird. And then I'm like, Disney Studios.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that other park that's in France.
All right. Well, let's talk. I think like the rest of the news is based on the news that came out of CinemaCon, which was what was it last weekend
Last
or
weekend, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah, last week.
last weekend.
It was like a longer, like it's not just like we're not obviously talk about all the Disney stuff and Disney
Yeah,
related stuff, but it was like a week long thing of all the studios talking about
right.
their upcoming stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the Disney slash Lucasfilm slash
Though Lucasfilm was not there.
not Lucasfilm. Sorry, Disney, Marvel, and 20th Century. We're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, so Inside Out 2, they showed it's going to be released on June 14th, and it showed 35 minutes. Riley is now 13, and the other emotions are anxiety, boredom, envy, and embarrassment. And I know ennui. Ennui is another one that is in there. Boredom is ennui.
Oh, okay.
Um, so anyway, they all surface. So that's very cool. I'm just curious to see how they're going to introduce them and what happens to the original emotions. Uh, I
From
think
what I
that's
gathered, the new ones sort of start taking over.
yeah, and the other
Yeah.
ones are literally bottled up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of funny that whole like bottled up emotions.
Yeah.
Um,
Basically.
yeah, so I'm really excited for it. Inside Out is one of my favorites, if not my favorite
What?
Pixar film. I know that Bing Bong scene. I mean, seriously, that one and the end. I'm like a puddle of tears.
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah. Uh, looking forward to it. Like I haven't seen much. I've seen obviously the teaser, but
Mhm.
it's like I didn't realize how soon it's coming. Like it's like 2 months that it'll be
I
out.
know. It feels like
Like literally
time
2 months.
yeah, time just slips by. It's like almost the middle of the year. I mean, like, and I just feel like it just started, so it's very crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Next, the Mufasa, the Lion King. It's going to be the sequel or the prequel, excuse me, to the Lion King. This is the live action one, and that's going to be released on December 20th. And they showed
A
a
teacher.
teaser showing a snowy part of Africa and a voiceover that said the story begins far beyond the mountains and the shadows on the other side of the light. Honestly, I'm really not that excited about Mufasa.
You know what that means? That means when it comes out, it's going to be your most favorite thing ever.
It is. It will be. It will be. I'll be like, I got to go see it again in the theater. It's true.
I
I did the same thing. I said the same thing about Up. I said, who's
yeah.
gonna watch a movie about a man's house being carried off by balloons? Well, I'll tell you, this guy.
All right. No,
Yeah,
I mean like it's a prequel to the like live action version.
right. If
But
it
I mean
were an
like but it's
animated version, then I would be
the I
probably
mean
more into it.
technically it is animated
I mean,
because
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is
but in the
animated.
more traditional animation style and not realistic
Right.
style. Um then maybe, but then it would just sound like one of those directed DVD
Yeah.
movies. You know what I mean? Like
I'm one
ooh,
of the
people.
ones who actually liked the live action Lion King. Like I thought it was a nice adaptation of, you
Right.
know, the
Yeah. But I
animated.
if I had a choice though, I would watch
The animated.
original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and like that's how I feel like a lot of the live action ones. I'm like, that's cool. I
Yeah.
still would still prefer watching the old one. But again, we've talked about this. We are not the demographic they're
Right.
aiming for with these things.
I mean, there are
Um,
ones that I really like more than others, like Jungle Book. Love
yeah,
Jungle Book. Love Cinderella. I really enjoyed The Little Mermaid.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's like the thing I liked about The Little Mermaid is that I felt like even though they took what was in the animated, right,
mhm,
it felt different, you know,
yeah,
like they did something, they had Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid. They set it like firmly in the Caribbean,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I thought that that was really nice, that they changed it. But of course, there's a lot of people who hated that. And I'm just like, they're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't.
right.
No matter what they decide to do, everybody,
It's
there's going to be people who are going to complain about the live action remakes.
yeah. Like here's what I would say. Most people like the original Psycho movie.
Hmm.
And then I forget who did it, but they made a shot for shot remake of Psycho.
Yeah,
Shot for shot.
yeah,
Why would you want to watch it?
I know. It doesn't.
Like
It's
it
like,
didn't
then
add
what's the
anything.
point? Yeah,
It didn't like change like there's adaptations where it goes off the rails and just becomes a completely different thing, which
hmm,
then I'm like, no. Superman.
yeah,
Um, but like for instance, and this is not a Disney thing, like there's a show on Amazon called Fallout that just came out based on a video
hmm,
game, right?
yeah,
It doesn't follow any of the games specifically. It just takes place in the world. And it's
yeah,
amazing and they capture the world and the tone and everything.
Yeah.
and that's great. But because like if they followed one of the games specifically,
Mm-hmm.
everyone would hate it because they can't translate a game you play for like 80 hours into an 8-hour miniseries.
Right.
Right, all those things, anything that's a like adaptation of a piece of most of the Disney animated movies are based off of fairy tales, and they definitely
Mm-hmm.
are not one to one, because the Little Mermaid is weird.
Yeah.
Cinderella is weird if you actually follow their actual tale. There's like
Oh yeah.
the thing with the shoe, the slipper, ah,
Yeah.
like literally there's like blood and gore.
And they cut, yeah, they cut the feet, and they cut the heel, and they cut the toes. But what's interesting is that I learned
Yeah.
about the Little Mermaid
Mhm.
is that it was Hans Christian Andersen actually was in love with a man,
Oh,
and but at that time
right.
they couldn't live that life, and so he felt sad that he could not obtain what his heart wanted, and he wrote a tale called The Little Mermaid about a little mermaid who could not obtain what she wanted. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Though I can see why if they made that into the animated version, kids would not like it.
Oh yeah, people would not. But you know what? I would totally
Right.
buy all the tickets.
But yeah, there's going
Uh,
to be artistic license and whatever, as long as you're faithful to like you know the meaning and the tone and just you know
mhm.
that's fine. But you know, but then it's like again, there's adaptations that are like nothing has nothing to do with the original thing, and that's when I'm like, you might as well just made a movie or
Mhm.
whatever, have a different title and be like, yeah, because that's
Yeah.
why I will not see the Joker movie. Just make a movie about this character and just don't call it Joker. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
Could be good. I don't know. I didn't see it,
it
but
was
I'm just saying.
good. It was good. Joker. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix did a really good job,
I'm
and
sure.
yeah,
I'm in protest of them using the Joker.
yeah, that's the thing. Is like it just didn't. Like they could have made him anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They shoehorned in the whole Batman mythos into a movie that could have made its own on its own merits.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
but, but yeah.
All right,
Anywho.
so let's move on to Moana 2. That's coming out on November 27th, 2024. They showed some footage, a couple new songs that are not written by Lin Manuel Miranda, from what I understand. Moana is going to be returning to her home island, and during the sizzle reel, they showed Pua, Heihei, and Maui all returning, which I would imagine that all of those characters would return.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll definitely watch Moana too,
Yeah.
because I loved the first film so much. That's Olivia, my sister, her favorite Disney film, Moana.
Really.
Yeah,
What was it
believe it
before
or not.
Moana?
I think it might have been The Little Mermaid.
No. Okay.
That's what I want to say, but I can't remember because
Interesting.
now it's just Moana.
Moana. Moana. All
Moana.
Moana. I wonder if they're gonna keep the name Moana 2. I don't know.
I know. I wish that they would, like Frozen 2 was called Frozen 2. I, Nobody could have come up with a different title.
Or
You
like
know,
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2, yeah, it's like Inside Out, bottled emotions. That's what I would call it.
It's weird,
Um,
like I think it's like because it's been a thing recently where sequels don't have like the number next to it anymore.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, back even just like last couple of years, there have been, two, whatever. But I feel like I kind of like that whole not having a number designation as your movie
Yeah.
for a sequel.
Right.
I don't know, it kind of gives it its own identity, I think, in my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like when I see it in text, Moana 2, I'm like, I feel like it needs to be something different.
Yeah. Moana Homecoming. And just keep naming them after Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, right.
Moana, Far From Home.
Inside Out 2
Moana.
or Inside Out. Yeah, Far From Home.
Yeah. You could totally use, you could totally use the Spider-Man names for anything, but they totally
Spider-Man.
would go well with Moana.
So my Spider-Man 4 is going to be Spider-Man Home on the Range. Peter Peter Parker retires to run a ranch.
Becomes a cowboy.
He's got a built-in lasso.
All right, so moving on. Excuse me. Daisy Ridley knows the story beats for her new Star Wars movie script to be read later next month. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that next month could be this month because whenever that piece came out, that's what she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And she just talks about like how she knows that the sequel trilogy was a very divisive group of movies, and it's true, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes we hear about like how John Boyega and like Oscar Isaac are kind of like done. They feel like whatever about Star Wars and their experiences, especially John Boyega. But John Boyega had also other terrible experiences just overall dealing with Lucasfilm and those movies. Daisy has been relatively silent. Like she doesn't really. Then again, she's not really like someone who would probably poo-poo on other things that she's part of. But she talked about how like even though it's very divisive, she loves the fact that there are fans of those movies, and especially fans of her character. Right.
Yeah.
So when she was approached, it was one of those like, well, of course I had to think about it, but like she didn't have to think about it too much. Like,
Yeah.
She says in the, like the interview, it's like, what's it called? Yeah, she'll do it. Of course she would do it. Why wouldn't she do it?
Yeah.
But yeah, she knows, like she's talked about like how she knows pretty much what the overall story is going to be. But the script hasn't been written at the time, but it as today, it should be almost done or almost done. At least the first draft of it or something. So
I mean, it would be nice if Favreau and Filoni were involved, and they, to me, they are like feel like the Kevin Feige of Star
I
Wars.
feel more Filoni as a keeper of the lore.
Yeah.
Like he knows how to make anything. Like whatever they want to do, he'll be able to rein it into the Star Wars universe.
Yep.
So Filoni definitely. Favreau, I think, as a creator, if he's executive producing, that would be fine. But I feel like he'd also more or less like just want people to do what they want. Like even Favreau is not like he depends on Filoni to make sure that whatever is happening makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like
yeah,
I'm sure, especially now, I think Dave has a little more say in things, or at least people will listen to him more than when The Force Awakens first started. Like he was there, but I don't think he had the name yet to be like, hey, hey, Lawrence Kasdan, maybe
Yeah,
not do this.
yeah.
Right? Because like at the time, like who is
Now,
Dave Filoni? Now it's like, okay,
yeah,
people know who Dave Filoni is.
yeah. I mean, he's like produced so many good things. No matter what you say about like Obi-Wan or whatever, Andor, they were good. They were better than the the sequels, and the prequels. Honestly, I think that they're better.
Meh.
I mean, yeah, I know that that's a hot take, but that's my
It
opinion.
just my feeling on Star Wars is like what you like, don't like what you don't.
Yeah,
A lot of people praise Andor for being the best Star Wars. I'm like, it's good. It's definitely not the best Star Wars. People like Rogue One, and like that's the best Star Wars. I'm like, nah, it's not.
what I liked about Andor was that it was different, you know, and it
Right.
showed that Star Wars can be different than lightsaber battles and all that jazz.
Yes.
The Force, and I think that seeing like the character development of Andor was so well done, and then the political intrigue. That's what really hooked me. Was just a whole political intrigue in there, and I just thought this is so different, and I love it. So yeah, I
I'm
wouldn't say it
not.
was the best, but
I'm not disparaging all that, but like
yeah,
to me, I will never watch Andor again. I watched it the once and I'm fine. I have no desire to watch that show again.
hmm.
Replayability for me is not fun, right?
No,
I don't watch a
no,
lot of dramas. Like I love The Children of Men, that movie, when I first
hmm,
saw it. It's so depressing that I'm not going to watch it again. I saw it the
yeah,
once. I'm good. Pan's Labyrinth, same thing. Beautiful movie, freaky. I will never watch it again, but it doesn't mean I hated it. Andor
right,
is one of those things where I love watching it week to week, finding out what's going on, and then the story is the story. And then obviously when the season 2 comes out, I'll follow it. But it's a
hmm,
series where I can't see myself going back to relive it like some of the other fun things. Like I've rewatched Mandalorian because it's fun.
uh huh.
And actiony, and it's like whatever. It
Well,
doesn't.
yeah, the Mandalorian is just very much. It's got a very much Star Wars vibe to it. So
Yeah,
does Ahsoka.
right.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, I liked Obi-Wan, but it's also one I probably won't watch again either
Hmm.
because it's a darker thing and what it explores and all
Darker,
that kind
yeah.
of stuff. It's just one of those things where like if I rewatch something, it's because I want to tune out and it's fun to just have on.
Yeah.
And those two things are not it. Rogue One, same thing. Rogue One, same thing.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like that means what Andor did is open the possibility of Star Wars can be anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the people that praise Andor and think is the best Star Wars, great. More of
Hmm.
that for those people. But don't expect everything to be Andor. It's kind of like Batman and Superman. Not everything needs to be Batman.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want the Flash. Sometimes you want Plastic Man, who's even
Right.
more ridiculous. And sometimes you want the elongated man instead of Plastic Man. It's all
Yeah.
good, right? Like what
uh,
you like, don't like what you don't.
yeah.
It's fine. No one's ruining anything.
Nobody's.
Like
Yeah.
Star Wars: A New Hope is always there.
And
There's
don't trash people who like
yeah,
something because don't yuck their yum.
exactly.
That's what I always say.
That's the
Don't
part
yuck
where I
my
hate
yum.
in conversation is like, I will go on and tell you I don't like whatever. If
Yeah.
you start to tell me that I'm wrong about why I don't like whatever, then yes,
Right.
I get into an argumentative thing and then be like, well, you like this and that's stupid. But
Hmm.
for the most part, if you tell me you hate uh, something I like, it's fine. If you want my opinion onto why I like what I like I'll defend my praise of The Last Jedi for the
Yeah.
parts I liked.
Hmm.
Um, and if you wanted me to now do an analysis about why. If you come to me with arguments that are like, this is not Star Wars, I'm like, it very much is Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll go into that.
The Last Jedi to me was the most cohesive of the three.
Yeah,
Personally, I mean,
I think
the first one
the
was,
first one was fun and but nostalgic, very
yeah,
much.
it was, and it like really shocked me as well with
Yeah.
the death.
Um, and then Last Jedi to me, especially watching like the documentary on it and the making of it, like really left the writers honestly nowhere to go with Luke Skywalker that
Right.
everyone wanted. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
Luke wouldn't have done this. I'm like, first of all, let's blame, if you're gonna blame people for not making Luke Luke, it's Lawrence Kasdan
Yeah.
and what's his name? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Director. Why am I blanking on him?
Yeah,
But you know, that guy.
Yeah.
Because they wrote Luke to have abandoned his friends. That's why he's not in that movie until the end.
Yeah.
He literally, there's a war. Leia's having trouble. Her marriage is on the rocks. Kids vanish and join the dark side. Luke gave up at that point. So Rian Johnson had to explain why Luke gave up. And the only reason, one of them, I mean, there could be best other reasons, but like, what reason could make Luke Skywalker, everyone's hero from Return of the Jedi, abandon his sister, abandon Han, abandon Chewie, abandon his nephew, and live out on an island?
Yeah.
Rian Johnson didn't do that. Lawrence Kasdan, the guy who wrote Empire, wrote that.
It's so true. It's so true. But honestly, when I watched The Last Jedi, I never once said, like, I did come out of the theater thinking, and then I watched it again and I really loved it. But the thing is that, like, I never once thought this is not something Luke would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I do feel like, given the situation and the one that Rian Johnson came up with, I think worked. You know?
Yeah. Like anyone who complains about Rian Johnson's Luke, I'm like, what would you rather have him do? Why did he abandon everybody then? Why is he on this island?
Right.
Why did he scuttle his ship? Or I guess we
they
didn't
have
establish that. Why is he on this island? Why did it take some weird coordinate thing from that old dude in the beginning of Force Awakens to find him?
Right.
Like, he didn't make it easy for his sister to find him.
No.
So like, why? It had to be because he felt shame. And what could be the most shameful thing he can do?
Yeah.
He turned on his nephew for a second.
Right.
Because he did that in Return of the Jedi. He was ready to murder Darth Vader in a split second.
Yeah.
And then he remembered who he was. Like, that doesn't go away. Like, Luke is still Luke. That's part of him. And then he didn't kill Ben. He realized his mistake the moment he made it. And then someone, obviously, you know, Kylo or Ben reasonably so overreacted. His uncle standing above him with his lightsaber. So, whatever happened after that, like, he destroyed everything after that or whatever, that was the overreaction. Like, why did he do that? Why did he just run away?
Right.
Like, no, I'm gonna destroy everyone else and kill all the other Jedi. So that was whatever. I mean, not to say that Last Jedi is perfect. Like, the humor is kind of weird in the beginning, and still didn't know what to really do with John Boyega. But again, Rian Johnson inherited a weird stopping point for the first movie with a cliffhanger. So it had to take place right after the movie.
Yeah.
So we had nowhere to play with. It's like, well, I inherited Rey standing on a cliffside, handing Luke a lightsaber, and then John Boyega almost dead. So what do? I had to play out what happens the next hour.
Yeah.
And there you go. So, whatever.
All right. Yeah. I know. We totally diverged from the topic, but that's okay.
Yeah, I
All
realized the
right.
section should have been under Lucasfilm.
I know. I was wondering why
Mm,
you didn't put an under Lucasfilm, but okay.
I'm pretty sure I put this together at
It's
like 1 in the
pretty
morning.
much the next few are Lucasfilm anyway. So,
Yeah.
so as you know, season of the Force started, and because Rich was there, but he did not see Sabine, who is now uh, she's from Trek. Star Trek. She's from Star Trek. She's
Star
from
Trek
Star Wars
4.
Rebels. Yeah. Star Wars Rebels, and also she was in the Ahsoka series. And so she's in the park in Galaxy's Edge alongside Ahsoka. I don't know if Hera still comes out, but I
That's my
wish she
other
did because
that's
she
my
was
other
amazing.
complaint. Just keep them
Huh?
coming. Just keep all those characters coming.
Yeah, I
You
mean
spent money
that's
on the
the nice
costumes,
thing is like
right?
seeing them wandering around. I mean that's
Yeah.
it's so awesome. So
Fennec still shows up. Boba Fett still shows up. Mandalorian still shows up.
yeah,
Bring out let's bring
I
out
mean the nice
Hera and
thing about
Ahsoka
Hera is that
and
she's a Twilight that
yeah,
we get to see around. I mean, I would love for them to have more Twi'leks
yeah,
wandering around and different alien races.
yeah. They do
Which
them
is
so
what
well.
yeah, and that's what they originally had planned, but then, but I mean, like Hera is amazing, Ahsoka is amazing.
Yeah.
As aliens, I think that they can totally do it. So
That's what Galaxy's Edge needs more droids and aliens.
yeah. And speaking of droids, they have the what I think they are called BD droids.
I think they're
BDO
BDX,
drone, huh?
BDX or BDO. It's not the
Yeah, I
BD
think it's
ones,
BD.
which
I think
is
it's BDO
something like that.
droids that they have wandering around, and they're going to be around through the season of the Force. So I can't wait to see those little guys. Like I'm so freaking excited, and I will wait in Galaxy's Edge until they come out.
I guess it's
So,
midday, mid afternoon, or beginning
yeah,
or early afternoon. I have to be there. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, you know, I'll
yeah.
probably get a bite over there, and just go.
Also, check out the fireworks when you're there. So make sure there's a
Yeah,
fireworks going on. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely want to catch the fireworks
With that, they said
one
there's an
night.
extend after Season of the Force, so
Did
not
you,
as
you see?
dire.
You didn't get to see the fireworks.
No,
Uh,
I have not. I mean, I've seen fireworks from there before. It's
but
just not
no, but
synced
without
to
the
anything.
music,
Yeah,
no,
it just
because
looks
there's
like
nothing
it looks like a
better.
battle. It looks like a battle over Batu. So it looks
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean it's and there's nothing better than Star Wars music to fireworks. I mean, it just is amazing.
Tis true.
Yeah. All right, Bo
Yep.
Willimon wrote the prison arc from Andor, and he will be co-writing with James Mangold on Dawn of the Jedi. And is Dawn of the Jedi,
The name? No.
huh?
Is that the name of the movie? No. Is the era?
Okay. Is this High Republic?
No. This
Oh.
is way before the High Republic.
Oh.
This is the beginning of the Jedi era, which is older than Yoda. So this are like thousands upon thousands of
Wow.
years before anything. Hence, Dawn of the Jedi.
That'll be exciting to see.
Yeah. Speaking of Andor, so
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. So like to me, like that prison arc is probably the best part of Andor.
Oh yeah, it was so good.
Um, so, but this also kind of informs me, like, all right, what kind of tone are they going for? This seems to be a little bit more. I don't know if it's gonna be whimsical or like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Who
Yeah.
knows? Everyone has different different creative juices, so he can maybe write a more fun movie. about
Right. Well, if you
how
think about it, okay, if you think about it, who were the producers or directors, excuse me, of some of the biggest names, titles in the MCU? Were the Russo brothers, right?
right
And where did they come from? Comedy writing.
comedy. Yeah,
Yeah. So people can definitely change their,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, the course of the work. And so that'll be really cool. I'm looking forward to this one because it's going to be different.
yeah. It's one of those things where it doesn't really need to be beholden to anything, especially involving a Skywalker
Yeah.
or or a Palpatine. Um, so obviously there's going to be people who complain because there have been comics and books written about the dawn of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
but like I don't think most people, like even amongst the hardcore, it's still like a very lesser written about time frame. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
whatever. But like James Mangold, it's also kind of doubly pressure because you're the one who starts the lore of the Jedi and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. Like, but there's also a freedom in that. So again, kind of working with the Star Wars story group, Dave Filoni, you could definitely make something that is definitely Star Wars and also explore, almost like a more romantic era of Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know,
Yeah.
I'd say don't expect lightsabers because that's a thing, not a thing, maybe not. I don't know, right? It's like it's
Right.
gonna be literally that, like more probably about the Force and how it was like discovered as a thing you could have
Yeah.
and harness and all those kind of things. So
Right.
plus I like Mangold. Say what you will about, like, I liked Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the greatest? No, but like I think it's a better send off than the last Indiana Jones movie is for
The
Harrison Ford.
Crystal Skull.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. I
it
mean,
felt more like a good
I
ending
really
for him.
like I really like Dial of Destiny. I mean, I thought it was really good. I would definitely watch it again. I haven't yet, but I will.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen it like 3 times, I think.
ooh, look at you.
So yeah. I mean,
All
like
right.
I said, I'll
Yeah,
watch that over Crystal Skull.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has a release date, and it will be May 22nd, 2026. Is this the final like Mandalorian era movie or Mandoverse?
No, so the final one is the one that Favreau is doing.
I
Remember, this is
see.
not a Favreau movie. This is a Filoni movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Favreau is the one who's going to direct the, at least, I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or whatever it's going to be, but he's the one who's involved in whatever the culmination is of those series.
Right.
This is, I want to say this might be what season 4 would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it was whatever they had planned fit more in the movie kind of setting than a whole season.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know if there is going to be another season of Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
This might be it, and then Ahsoka season 2. Whatever happens with that, we'll dive into whatever Favreau is going to do. So we probably won't see that movie for a while.
Yeah.
But
All right. Let's move on to Marvel. So Kevin Feige has confirmed the name of Thunderbolt, and it will be Thunderbolt asterisk, and that asterisk is intentional. We don't know what it means yet.
There's
Um,
rumors
like, what are some of the rumors? Because I haven't heard.
that the actual title of the movie is going to be the Dark Avengers.
Mm. Eh, I like Thunderbolt. I mean, they better have Thunderbolt in the title because that's who they are.
I mean, we'll get
I don't
into.
want them to be the Dark Avengers.
We'll
I
see.
want them to be the Thunderbolts.
I mean, I'll talk a little bit more when we talk about the other thing.
Okay. Okay. So over at CinemaCon, there was 9 minutes of footage from Deadpool and Wolverine, and that is a definite rated R, movie,
Yes.
which I think we all knew.
I mean, there's always
Kev-
going to be the people who associate Disney with not like even when
yeah,
it's been said many times, even by Ryan Reynolds, and like it's going to be rated R. People are like,
right.
it's Disney, so of course it's not. I'm like, I mean, the
Yeah,
acquisition of 20th Century having Hulu gives them the opportunity to do stuff, and they used to own Miramax
right. Well,
and
and
whatever. So
and now with Hulu being on Disney Plus, I
yeah,
mean, and Logan is on Disney Plus.
yeah,
That's a definite rated R.
yeah,
So and both the Deadpool movies are on there. So people,
yeah. And it
hopefully will
wasn't
not.
like I know they did like a PG-13 of one of the Deadpool movies, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not the version. Like you can probably still watch it, but that's not the only version on Disney Plus. Like they have the original rated R version
Mm-hmm.
on there. So yeah, the 9 minutes of footage was pretty much an extension of what we saw in the trailer, that like
Right.
birthday scene with him.
Yeah.
Like we established that he is no longer Deadpool. He's working like a 9 to 5 job. Uh, him and Vanessa have split up.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I can't remember if it was in the trailer or not, but like there's a little snippet of conversation where he's like, "Oh, how you doing?" And she mentioned the guy he's seeing, and then he says, "Oh, that's nice." And then I think she says something like, at least I don't get shot at." Kind
Yeah.
of blame. I feel like that's what strained that relationship is that
Yeah.
she died technically in Deadpool
Right.
2, right? And then the whole
Yeah.
timey wimey thing he does brings her back. But
Right.
but yeah,
Exactly.
but like okay, there's a part where the TVA show up, so it's definitely the TVA, and then breaking fourth wall, he says something like, take that, I'm going to Disneyland. so so that it's still there, the whole um breaking the fourth wall humor. It's very self-aware of itself. uh
Mm-hmm.
so that did not go away because it's on Disney, whatever. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Deadpool. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. uh
Yep. Me too.
soon soon
Yeah.
soon soon
All right. Now, footage from Captain America: Brave New World. I'm really excited about this film. Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross. He's taken over from William Hurt, who unfortunately passed away.
Yeah.
Um, and he asked Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson to reform the Avengers. And Wilson asked the same question from Civil War about what happens when they don't agree on how to handle the situation. So I'm excited. I'm hoping we'll see the new Avengers in this movie. Um, so yeah, we'll see.
Like this is where the whole Thunderbolts Dark Avengers thing. Like I can see that the two Thunderbolt Ross has always been like against the superheroes. Like even
Right.
though he's kind of come to terms with them, but now I think he's more like I could use this. So the whole like this could like the movie Thunderbolts could be called that Dark Avengers because he might be trying to form
Right.
something that eventually become Thunderbolts. Because I think Anthony Mackie is then going to be like, you have your Avengers, I'll take the real Avengers, and he forms the actual Avengers team.
Right.
Um, and then that's when the Thunderbolts turn into, or the Dark Avengers of Thunderbolt Ross turn into the Thunderbolts.
Oh. All right. Let's move on to 20th century. There's been some CinemaCon news there, starting with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. They showed 13 minutes of footage, and it's going to be released on May 8th. So not too long from now. I can't wait to see this film. I saw, the last kind of extended footage that they showed, and it just looks amazing. I
Yeah.
love the franchise, and I love how they reimagine the old films. You know what I mean?
The 60s films? The
The
60s films?
Yeah, the '60s films. Like they're very different from the '60s films.
Right.
Yeah, which I like. Was talking about earlier. The thing that I like about the Little Mermaid is that it's different, even
Right.
though a lot of it was the same. And I'm sorry, but the Scuttlebutt song, genius.
I didn't mind that song. The one song I did
I
was like less warm to was the Prince Eric song.
Yeah, that one was a little bit less
I
whatever,
mean, it
but
wasn't
yeah,
bad, but it was like, it
yeah,
wasn't great.
I know what you mean. So yeah, that they showed 13 minutes of that. Young Woman and the Sea, which is coming out on May 31st. It's based on the true story of Gertrude Ertl, who swam the English Channel in the early 1900s, and this can star Daisy Ridley. And the film is also being produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and is said to be the highest testing movie of his career. Ah, interesting.
I thought that was
I'll
very
watch it because of
interesting.
Daisy Ridley.
Have you seen the trailer
No,
of it? It's pretty good.
no. I'll have to look
Like,
it up.
it looks pretty good. So I'm interested in it. And she has an American accent in this movie.
Ooh la la.
Because I was watching the
That's
trailer,
nice.
I'm like, huh. Because, it's English channel, so I figured, okay. So I don't know, obviously, anything about Gertrude
Yeah.
Girl, or I don't know how to pronounce her last name. So I assumed she was British because it's British. It's the English channel. Nope.
Mm,
She's totally an American. So, but it's
right.
kind of got that old, like early 1900s, maybe East Coast vibe to her. You know what I mean? Like there's like they have there's a slight accent to one that century, but then also like the northeast of America has like a different
Yeah.
accent, right? So old timey wimey English or American northeast accent.
Right.
But,
All right. The final film that they showed was Aliens Romulus, and that's coming out on August 16th. They showed a little footage and described it as scary. Which, I mean, why wouldn't it be scary? All the
I
other
mean,
ones
I
were.
feel like because I didn't find Aliens 4 or even 3 all that scary. Aliens is also not scary. Alien is scary.
Aliens is scary. Aliens is scary, but it's more like yeah. The others were more like sci-fi films.
More action sci-fi with some horror
Y-
elements. I
Yeah,
think this
that's
is
true.
going back to the more alien feel. So much so that I saw today that they're releasing Alien in theaters.
Mm,
I think the end of this month.
yeah,
Because it's like one of those like, you know, how when they re-released Star Wars into theaters, or like this is the way it was meant to be seen. Same
right.
thing with Aliens. Like this is the way this movie is meant to be seen. So I think it's
Hmm.
more or less back to the more of the horror feel of Alien than the action horror of Aliens 3, and then Alien 4. Ripley has a weird alien baby. And then
Uh,
I've never watched I never watched Prometheus or the other kind of prequel to
yeah,
Alien. I feel like I did watch one of the other Aliens movies I did not like because whatever. And I never
right.
saw Aliens versus Predator. I think it was Alien versus Predator I saw, but I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I love the Aliens franchise. Or at least I love
right.
Aliens. I was okay with 3 and 4, but then after that, I'm like, but the comics, I love those also.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. All right. Well, we've come to the end of our program. You have anything else you want to share?
nope.
Okay,
Good.
good. Well, if you enjoyed this program, we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel if you aren't already. Hit the bell for notifications and do like this post. This really does help us out. Visit us on all of our socials down below. And with that, I say goodbye.
Yep. Catch you on the flip side.